During the course of making videos for this channel, I often come across things, facts, trivia that are scarcely believable. Where I can, I include these finds in my videos on the basis that if they interest me, then they're likely to interest other people. I've plundered my last few videos and I've extracted some weird and wonderful facts. There's 14 of them, and they're wild, and they'll blow your mind. I'm going to start off with fact number 1. Seems a good place to start. Sometimes your brain can make up light and brightness, and I'm going to demonstrate that in this 1-minute clip. Roll VT. This is the Asahi illusion, and I'll first of all start with a white background. Throughout this illusion, the luminance of this white background will not change in any way. Let's introduce a black shape. I'm now going to grade the blackness so that it loses its blackness as it gets closer to the tip of the shape. For the time being, I'm now going to revert it back to solid black and add more shapes to make a circle. Now let's add in the gradient to the blackness. If the white background in the centre now looks brighter to you, then that's your brain making it up. Your brain is assuming the gradient on the shapes is being caused by a light source, so it's added one in. Back to black. Back to gradient. At no time has the luminance of the white background changed. Fact number 2. Our environment can play havoc with our sense of size and perspective. Have a look at this 45-second clip. These two red lines are the same length. And here's another truthful statement. I'm not going to alter in any way the length of those red lines. Just to prove they are in fact the same length, let's introduce 2 black lines to confirm it. Let's now introduce some shapes to give us some depth of field. It's highly likely now that the red line on the right now appears much bigger than the one on the left. Your brain thinks it's now far away and it's overcompensated for its size. Let's put the black lines back in to show they're still the same length. This is definitely one optical illusion that our brain can't handle. Fact number 3. Things that happen quickly in our peripheral vision can become grossly distorted, particularly faces. I can demonstrate that to you in this next 90-second clip. Keep the lights on. This one gets a bit scary. Firstly, I just want you to look at the faces on the video. I think you'll agree that they're all perfectly normal and good-looking faces. There's nothing unusual about these faces at all. Now I'm going to play that exact video again with one new rule, and that's to focus your stare on the cross in the centre of the screen, so that you're only viewing the images with your peripheral vision. It's important to note that the video I'm about to play is exactly the same video that you've just seen. No images have been altered. Focus on the cross and I'll play that video again. So what's going on there? I saw at least one Cyclops. Fact number 4. Hundreds of years ago, people built wavy walls instead of straight walls to save on bricks, which were incredibly expensive at the time. That sounds like a paradox because you need more bricks to build a wavy wall. But in this next 90 seconds, you'll learn that that's not necessarily true. They constantly form concave and convex curves, so it's not surprising that they're also known as snake walls. The curves, of course, take up a much larger land footprint, but it's these curves that give crinkle-crankle walls their immense strength. Had a straight wall of the same height, just one brick thick, been built on this spot 500 years ago, it wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. The first gust of wind would have flattened it. It's these curves that provide the strength and the stability to resist lateral forces, and that includes the most powerful winds that Mother Nature can throw at it. If we were to somehow straighten out this wall, we'd find that it was only 22% longer than a straight wall. But that straight wall would have to be 2 bricks thick minimum to maintain its structural integrity against the elements, not to mention periodic buttresses that would have probably been needed. So for an extra 22% in length, you save yourself a ton of bricks. You get a wall that will stand for hundreds of years, and you get a sun trap for your fruit thrown in for good measure. Facts 5 to 8 are the origins of 3 phrases that we use all the time. Not enough room to swing a cat isn't talking about a pet cat. Paint the town red actually comes from a time when someone actually painted a town red. And the phrase steal someone's thunder comes from a time when someone's thunder was actually stolen. Roll VT. We must go all the way back to the 17th century for not enough room to swing a cat. Life on board ship in those days was brutal, and rules and laws were strictly enforced to maintain discipline. The cat o' nine tails was the preferred method of dishing out punishment. Men would be stripped to the waist and flogged with the cat, causing catastrophic injuries. The amount of lashes you received was proportional to the offence you had committed. These floggings would always be carried out on the deck of the ship, never below decks. There wasn't enough room to swing a cat down there. In the early hours of Thursday the 6th of April 1837, Henry Beresford, the 3rd Marquis of Waterford, arrived at Melton, Mowbray in England with a group of friends. They had been previously drinking heavily at the Croxton races. When a tollkeeper asked them for payment, it didn't go well. Ladders, brushes and red paint were nearby, and they covered the poor tollkeeper head to toe, along with a policeman who had rushed over to help. The group then rampaged through the town, painting the doors red, until another policeman got involved to stop the nonsense. He got painted red as well. They hoisted up the Marquis of Waterford on their shoulders to paint the sign on this building red. It was a pub called the Old Swan back in 1837. In 1988, traces of red paint were found on this carved swan when it was removed for restoration. The whole event caused a scandal in England, and they were all fined £100, a huge amount at the time. Ever since then, painting the town red means we're on a special night out of fun and frivolity. Don't bother waiting up, because tonight we're out, and we're painting the town red. If someone steals your thunder, then they're either taking credit for your idea or they've overshadowed your moment. The story behind this phrase is delightful. In 1704, English playwright John Dennis debuted a play at London's Drury Lane Theatre. Unfortunately, the play flopped, but it was notable for including ingenious sound effects to mimic thunder using a wooden box and cannonballs. The play was a flop, but his thunder was a hit. Thunder doesn't pay the bills though, and his play was cancelled in favour of a production of Macbeth by a rival theatre company. They used his thunder on stage, and a furious John Dennis wrote, "Damn them, they will not let my play run, but they steal my thunder." Fact number 9 comes from the Netherlands. In the 1970s, they tried building a housing estate with normal square houses. So far, so good. But for reasons known to absolutely no one, they decided to build the houses balanced on one corner. Roll VT. Cube houses. This film from the mid-70s sets out the vision, the dream, the possibilities for cube houses at Helmond and Rotterdam in the Netherlands. They're probably the craziest houses on my list, I'm no architect, but I really do struggle to understand what on earth they were trying to achieve. The house shown in this video is one of 3 test houses that were built in 1974. The walls are at a 54-degree angle, but it's probably fair to say that this video gives an optimistic view on the living space that's available. The test houses incredibly got the go-ahead, and several projects got the green light. Who thought this was a good idea? The idea was to create high-density housing with plenty of space on the ground level, and to be fair, they did achieve that. The actual footprint of the house is small, but the area inside the house is big. The houses are cubed in shape and tilted onto a corner. That's meant to optimise space and to efficiently distribute the rooms. The houses are big, but surely common sense tells us that usable space will be minimal. It looks like the designers of these houses were rather proud of the 100 square metre space created inside, but because of its angle structure, only 25 square metres is actually livable. Surely they knew this before they were built. The first floor windows face the ground, and the second floor windows face the sky. You're either staring at the pavement or the stars. The houses still stand to this day, and I can only imagine that the residents think they're wonderful, but they have come in for criticism for being impractical and lacking space. This type of house was tried in other parts of the world, but I think it's fair to say that they didn't catch on. The designers of the cube house must have been out of their box. Personally, I'd prefer to live in a cave. Fact number 10. Some optical illusions are so good, people have a hard time believing that they haven't been doctored. I get comments to this day saying that I've digitally altered these next 2 optical illusions. I promise you, I haven't. Lots of people can't get their head around the fact that these are illusions and no trickery on my part is involved. These tables by Roger Shepard are an example of geometrical illusion. What would you say is the longest table? The tabletops are a pair of identical parallelograms, and our brain interprets them as objects in 3-dimensional space. This one clearly looks longer and thinner than this one. They are, however, identical. I can show graphically by moving the large tabletop over, and I can even use a ruler to show you that they are the same. If you don't believe me, and trust me, many don't, then pause this video and compare the length of your finger to both examples. The checker shadow illusion. Another illusion where I found it difficult to convince some of its truthfulness. Your brain is telling you that tiles A and B are different colours. They are in fact the same colour and shade. Your brain can see the shadow and clearly expects a white tile to be in the space marked B. I'm going to slide the B tile now out of the shadow and put it next to A. I haven't changed the colour of that tile. Your brain has. Please allow me just 20 seconds to plug this channel. Very Nearly Interesting is a brand new channel and I need all the help I can get. Please click that like button if you've enjoyed this video. That's how YouTube knows you like it and they'll show it to more people. And please consider subscribing. That way I might see you again. And now you can support the channel on Patreon, where you'll find exclusive content and a grateful me. There's a link in the channel description. Fact number 11. House builders in the Netherlands eventually decided that cube houses were ridiculous, so they tried ball houses instead. The Bolwoningen project was an experimental house design and is located in the Maaspoort neighbourhood in the Netherlands. The Dutch government were offering grants for experimental housing designs at the time, and for a while, ball houses looked like the future. They are constructed from reinforced concrete and fiberglass, and because they were made off-site, they could be erected in just one day. The houses are divided into 3 levels, with the lower concrete section used for storage. Look at this guy, nonchalantly chatting away on his phone without a care in the world. He cares not a jot that his house looks like a golf ball sitting on a tee. The available living space in the Bolwoningen is a respectable 55 square metres. They had clearly learned their lessons from the cube houses. All of the ball houses are currently occupied, but unfathomably, they didn't catch on elsewhere. And today, they make for an unusual sight in an otherwise normal-looking suburban area. Fact number 12. Hundreds of years ago, people thought it was perfectly normal to build houses and shops on bridges. This next clip lasts just a couple of minutes, but it shows you the oldest bridge in England that has a house on it. It's almost 1,000 years old, and also an entire shopping street in Bristol that's on a bridge. The scary thing with both of these examples, though, is most of the visitors who go there have got no idea that they're on a bridge. I'm making this video from the High Bridge in the beautiful city of Lincoln. This bridge was built in 1160, and it's the oldest bridge in England upon which buildings still stand. Lincoln is an ancient walled city, and I'm sure it made absolute financial sense to build this house on that bridge. It's now a cafe. I'm sure people walk past this building every single day, completely oblivious to the fact that they and the building are on a bridge. At Bath, England. Pulteney Bridge was built in 1774 over the River Avon and hosts 2 rows of shops over its full length and a busy road. It's a stunning bridge, but it has to be said, the view of its northern side is less appealing. Today, Pulteney Bridge also has the unusual distinction of having a bus lane which causes drivers to be ticketed at the highest rate in the city. Sometimes shoppers, particularly from out of town, have absolutely no idea that they themselves and every single shop are on a bridge. Number 13. The very first photograph ever taken of a human, the world's first movie, and the first moving image of a human being all still exist, and I'm going to show them all to you in this next 90-second clip. Roll Ancient VT. The first photograph ever taken anywhere in the world was this one, the view from the window at Le Gras, by the father of photography, Joseph Nicéphore Niepce, in 1826. You're now looking at the earliest glimpse of the world we have, and not a paintbrush in sight. Exposure took all day long, so having a human in photos back then was out of the question. This is the world's very first movie, shot on a single lens using film in 1888. Today, it's known as the Roundhay Garden scene, and it's the very first time that we can see human beings moving on film. This is the very first photograph ever taken of a human being. It's a daguerreotype, and it was taken by Louis Daguerre himself. Exposure time took around 15 minutes at this point, so none of the carriages or pedestrians show up, except this man having his shoe shined. He stood there motionless, just long enough to appear on the photograph. This may well be the first video ever of a human being. A man walking around a corner was shot in 1887. It's not a film, it's a series of 16 photographs shot on a 16-lens camera by French photographic pioneer Louis Le Prince. Here the photographs have been stitched together to give the illusion of movement. Dare we say that this is the very first person ever to be recorded moving? I think we can, but with the caveat that this is not a film. Fact number 14. If life seems to be going faster for you the older you get, it's not in your imagination. There's scientific and psychological explanations for it, all of which will become apparent in this next 2-minute clip. Neuroscientists say that it's our brain that's the mastermind behind our shifting sense of time. As we age, changes in how our brains process information can alter our experiences. One key factor is the slowing of cognitive processing speed. Studies carried out in 2019 suggest that the rate in which we acquire and process new mental images declines with age. Young brains buzzing with rapid neural activity absorb the world in vivid detail. Older brains with slower networks and less novelty to process take in less per second, making time feel like it's slipping by faster. The suggestion is that saccadic eye movements, those little eye movements that our eyes do to scan our environment, slow with age due to brain degradation. A child's eyes dart around capturing a flood of fresh data, whereas an adult's gaze is steadier, taking in less new information. The result? Days feel shorter because our brain has got less to chew on. Now, there is a bit of science to back this up. Also in 2019, a study from the University of Munster in Germany used EEG scans to measure how adults of different ages perceived short time intervals. For example, 1 to 3 seconds. Younger participants consistently overestimated these durations, whereas older participants consistently underestimated them. Researchers link this to a decline in dopamine levels. That's tied to attention and reward processing, but it drops as we age. Less dopamine means less anchoring to the present moment, letting time slip by unnoticed. Another piece of the puzzle seems to be how we form memories. Psychologists like William James, writing in the 19th century, said that maybe it's because childhood is packed with firsts. The first day at school, the first bike ride, the first trip to the beach. These novel experiences demand attention, and they etch themselves onto our mind. That stretches our sense of time. Look at adult life in contrast. It's all work, bills, TV, beer, repeat. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button. That way YouTube will show it to more people. And please consider subscribing. That way I might see you again. And if you'd like more information on any of the clips that I've shown you in this video, you'll find the full videos on the channel. And whilst you're on the channel, have a look at some of the other content. There's lots of interesting things on there. Well, very nearly interesting.